Response to Mr Brown was asking you about your policies and the actions you took as First Minister in your government. So you believe it was your progressive policies and delivery should be celebrated in your time as First Minister?
Yes.
So,
always suspicious of questions like that. Because, you know, is he leading me on to a killer riposte?
Well, not really. It's just looking at the facts rather than your own assumptions and your own calculations of your time in office. I mean, education, PISA rankings in reading, maths and science fell throughout your time as First Minister. Drug deaths increased from 2007 to 2014, and of course you agreed the contracts to build 2 ferries that still aren't servicing the islands they were supposed to work for. Is that the type of delivery you think should be celebrated?
Well, just on the third one, I had no part or agreement on the contracts for the ferries, if you check the record there.
You had no part at all? You didn't?
No, they were agreed after. The contracts for the ferries were some time after I left office, Douglas. Check the record.
Well, just on that point then, if we're going to argue that point,
no, I'm not arguing.
You were involved in the earlier stages to secure the contract going to that yard.
Right, well, okay, let me give you a bit of time scale. The saving of the Ferguson yard took place in August, September 2014.
Just for the referendum?
Just before the referendum, yeah. I left office in November 2014. I promise you, the 2 ferry contracts, I mean, I don't know where they were in the EFOR, but they certainly weren't anywhere near the civil service. They were negotiated sometime after I left office. Now,
you were involved in the nationalisation of that yard?
No. I was involved in saving the yard, and a private business took over the yard. The nationalisation of the yard was 4 years later. I mean, you know, it's many people like me who are looking back over the last 20 years that get my dates mixed up, Douglas. You're meant to be on the spot and on the ball. 2 parliaments, it'd be quite exhausting going back and forward.
Well, fortunately, you don't have that problem anymore since you're not sitting in either. But I just wonder about that point. You were involved in the early stages, but if you don't want to...
Let me be quite exact.
Alec, what we'll do here is we'll ask questions and we'll get answers, and then we'll be able to move on. Douglas.
So on the point then, if you'd like to not focus on ferries, on education and drug deaths, did drug deaths increase?
I want you to acknowledge, Douglas, that your assumption about my involvement in the ferry contracts was incorrect. It's manifestly incorrect. I won't ask you to apologise because you're not a minister. I'm sure you're not deliberately misleading the committee. I just want you to acknowledge that your memory had failed you.
Well, I'm going to speak about education.
No, I want you to acknowledge first.
Well, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that.
Well, you're good.
Mr Salmond, Mr Salmond.
Order. Stop, please, both of you. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll ask questions, we'll secure responses, and then we'll move on to the next member of the committee. If we could conduct our proceedings in that manner, I'm sure it'll be much more productive. Douglas.